Welcome to Revenue Margin, where we dive into the best strategies for business growth and leadership. I'm Rob Malenik, and today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest challenges for any business, how to attract and retain top talent. Let's get into this. First thing first, how do you attract the best people? I think there's probably three things that I feel like are probably the key items. First, you have to build a strong employer brand, but to a degree, I think it's more when people research your organization, they need to find that there's a brand value there that they like and is attractive to them. People tend to want to work for companies with a great culture, clear values, strong reputation, but more when they research it, they want to see something that like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. I could see myself working there. And if you highlight your mission and success stories on LinkedIn and on your website, it kind of communicates to people what organization you're going to be like. And creating these types of videos and talking about your organizational structure is actually kind of key for people understanding from a internet-based research perspective. I think also is that competitive compensation and perks are very, very key. I mean, obviously, if your salary and your compensation model isn't competitive in the marketplace, that's a deal killer, right? You got to get past the salary part. But typically, what people look like at organizations, they're really looking for benefits that are fitting their lifestyle, right? And so they're looking for a place that they show respect. They're looking for a place that offers them some flexibility with their life, some place where they feel valued from a career development perspective, and not just the wishy-washy, like, oh, we have a program over here, and somebody will reach out to you in 6 months or a year, and we talk about how to grow you in the organization. No, it needs to happen day one. You need to talk about their ways to win day one and talk about how you're going to affect not just their ability to be successful in their career, but how do they find success financially here in this organization. I think also there's a key item associated with wellness. And it's a general statement, like it's about healthcare, and it's about all the little things as your organization, like 401k and the 401k match. All those items, like your wellness associated with that person's life. Are you looking into like how you approach the company culture, like from a perspective like a buy-in, and they feel like this is healthy and a healthy place to be at? And are they respected? It's a really hard thing to define, and organizations try to do it from a policy perspective, and that falls flat if the culture itself doesn't believe it and live it. You want to also create like a hiring process to a degree, but honestly, people just want to hear the communication process. They don't want to be waiting forever, but if they have to, if they're in a process where you're like trying to find the right person and you're looking to be able to find a specific type of talent, you need to explain to people up front what that process is. The first interview that you have past that initial screening that maybe an HR person is doing, when you first meet the client, or the potential employee, you should really focusing on day one. This is what we're doing from step by step. This is where we're going to get to be able to make you successful. And feel like when they get that communication, you as a team, it's not just you, but you should be all the people who are part of that interviewing process should be talking to them and telling how much they're valued and what they're going to be moving forward associated with that. People just love that, and they find that attractive associated with how to be able to move forward. Obviously, now you have that top talent. What are you doing to retain them? Keeping them engaged, keeping them committed. I think a lot of employers really just like, oh, I got this person, give them a job, and 3 years later they're still doing that job. And that's just not the way it works nowadays. People want to be able to expand and grow, or else they're going to do the 3 to 5 year jump. Every 3 to 5 years, somebody's going to leave. And that really hurts an organization if you have that type of a culture. You got to offer like training. You got to offer mentorship. You have to sometimes be open to like giving people a chance to try something new. I remember actually I had a staff accountant that really wanted to be a manager. It was an excellent, I call them a subject matter expert. It was just an amazing person. Gave them management for the first time. After coaching them, showing them how it was needed and what needed to be done, and they hated it. And that's okay. Like, it was, having that frank conversation for them to feel safe enough to come back saying, gosh, this isn't working out for me 6 months into it, and I really don't like dealing with when somebody's out, how I'm going to get the work done and managing that person and dealing with, employee related issues, and being open to like saying, well, let's change your career path. Talking to your colleagues about what their career paths are and understanding that to keep them motivated and to have that culture where you're constantly working with them to be able to build their future and understand where their future are in a very safe environment, without threatening, and like without any kind of worry that you're going to come after them if they don't succeed or there's a concern. Those people are extremely loyal to you, and they find that I find that those people then find ways to grow your organization to make you successful, is that they can be able to find ways of success for themselves. I think you also need to foster a positive work culture. People don't tend to leave really fun jobs. If they love working for you, they don't tend to leave those jobs, even if they maybe don't like the work. People tend to leave if they have bad leadership, bad managers. They don't have to, those leaders tend to typically focus on the work itself. Maybe you don't hear from them for months at a time. They tend to like not really try to put themselves in your shoes to understand like what is that person, how they're perceiving this, and what do I need to do to make them successful. I think the great leaders focus on understanding where a person's career is, having consistent, regular conversations to talk about leadership development. You have recognition processes and methodologies. Sometimes it's as little as like having like a meeting where you talk about people's lives too, and finding like out about them and talking about what outside of work, what matters to them. They find that the ability to share that with their colleagues, people they spend most of their day with, during the week, as kind of, we have a connection now. And I think that there's also a need for work-life balance. In today's world, we're expected to do so many things, and we're stuck in situations where a lot of people, especially young people, and all the way to people that are maybe older in the workforce, where they have different life experiences without the support systems that people had 40, 50, 60 years ago. And without those support systems now around, they have to go into the dentist at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to be able to take care of their son or daughter, because they don't have a choice. They have to wait 2 months to get their child in to see the dentist. And if they have an employer that's willing to give them some flexibility of little small things associated with those items and work with them without having to like, oh, nope, you lost 15 minutes of PTO because you had to take a phone call about this. In today's professional workforce, that just doesn't work. Obviously, these things I'm saying are potentially different in certain production systems or production processes where you have a consistent production schedule that needs to be achieved. But even then, you could think about how to be able to be more flexible for your employees, to be working with them, to be able to improve their work-life balance, because that commitment to their family and their world will make a commitment back to you tenfold, because they know they can't find that in other places. And I think that you need to listen and to adapt. Too often I've seen surveys that go out and like people create a survey, and I'm like, what was the point of this? You asked a question and you asked a question that is basically giving you the answer that you wanted to get in the way that you wrote it. You basically, sometimes people write these questions, you're like, this question means nothing. Like, this doesn't mean anything, and people are just going to give you the answer you want to hear. Or else you get feedback, and all of a sudden, like, you don't like that feedback, and you're like, okay, well, what are we going to do differently about it? Well, we'll just stop doing the survey because I didn't like the feedback that we got. And I do think that there is or I would say there also is a concern about people like, and this is a real concern, hey, this is a confidential survey, has been told to multiple people too. And then everybody knows it's not true. That survey isn't confidential, that they can figure out that you only have 15 people in that department, and if you give some feedback, well, somebody on that 15-person team, well, Sally Sue gave me that feedback because I know she's upset, and people feel threatened or potentially targeted if they give some negative feedback. And I do believe that if you're really reaching out to people and understanding this, you don't necessarily need a formal survey. If a great manager and great leader is talking to their employees and meeting with them on a consistent basis, having an opportunity to build that relationship, that first time somebody gives you some feedback, how do you approach it? Because if you approach it hard and threaten them or like respond back in a negative way, they'll immediately close off to you forever. If you immediately, they'll come back and say, hey, that didn't go well, but I got your back. Let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. Let's talk about it to make it better. And people then know they can trust you moving forward. You've shown that they can trust you moving forward. When things get hard, how do you approach it? So, in closing, I do think that there's some of these items are ways to be able to attract and retain talent. It isn't about luck. You're not lucky that you found the right person. It's about your intention and your leadership that's going to actually make people work out and be able to grow your team. If you focus on creating an environment where people want to work and grow and be a team, they'll stay with you for the long haul because they can see the way that they're going to win up front, not have to wait and trust. They know that they can trust you because you've shown that they can trust you. If you want to learn more, if you want to talk more about this, love to hear from you. In Minnesota and Iowa markets, we are also creating executive forums now here at Creative Planning. If you want to learn more about how that can potentially benefit your organization, please reach out to me because we're asking for leaders to join those. It's an amazing program, free of charge. Just wanted to get leaders together to talk about certain things like this from the leadership perspective of how we can help your organization and help each other in the marketplace. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this valuable. Please subscribe and share this with your friends. I look forward to talking to you at the next episode of Revenue Margin, brought to you by Rob Melenik. Have a wonderful day.